Roasting chicken. Some people find it difficult, some people end up with a dry old bird. Today we're going to go through the fundamentals of roasting a beautiful chicken to be the centerpiece of your next roast dinner. Whether it's cooking for family or cooking for friends, a beautiful bird, golden brown and juicy in the middle of the table is proper impressive and something that you need to learn to do at home. Roasting the chicken, let's get it. Now when you first get your bird, there's a few things you need to look out for. Firstly, where's it from? Is it organic? Free range organic chickens are gonna have bigger legs because they've got more grass to roam around in. Battery chickens, smaller legs, bigger breasts, they've been pumped up full of water. So always double check the proportions of your chicken before you buy it, if you can. I've got this one from the supermarket and it came in a bag. I've taken it out of that bag now for about 2 days in the fridge. That's ideal. If overnight is all you've got the time to do, that's fine as well. The reason we're doing this is because we're looking to dry out this skin. We don't want moisture on the outside of that bird going into the oven and inhibiting the caramelization process. We want that heat to hit the fat, warm up the skin, and turn those proteins into sugars through that Maillard reaction, getting that beautiful golden brown sticky goodness that all good roast chickens bring. Normally these birds come trussed. That is either an elastic string looking thing, tying the bird up, trying to plumpen it. The inside of the leg, the top of that little breast there, they're the last place to catch that temperature and they take a long time to cook. So by the time your legs are done, your breasts are actually over, and that's why dry chicken is such a thing. So what you want to do, take a little knife and just nick that elastic. Release your bird, put it out onto a board and just open everything up. So take your fingers and pull these legs out. Pull the wings out, have a look at those. Then you're going to take a pair of fish pliers, fish tweezers, or any tweezers that you have, dip them in a little bit of water. And then if there are any feathers in and around the legs, on the end of the elbows, just take your tweezers and pluck those off. Now in backwards form, the better the quality of the chicken, the more likely it is to have these little hairs. It's been better handled, better reared, more respected. So getting these pesky little feathers out is sometimes pretty taxing. And make sure you dip your tweezers into water to get all those hairs off. Once that's done and your bird is all plucked, primmed and proper, what you want to do is turn it over. And just double check the back, making sure there's no more hairs, it's all nice and fresh and dry. And if there's any excess skin here, just nick that off. Keep that for your stocks and your sauces. Now, bird back over. What we're gonna do, the top tip for roasting chicken, is release the wishbone that's found in the top of this cavity next to the breasts. Then what you want to do is lift the skin with your fingers, pull back, take a small knife and just scrape down the inside of that breast. And you'll start to hear the scratch, and that's because your knife has come in contact with a bone. You pry in, find the bone and push down, and that's released that wishbone in there. You pinch behind those bones, twist, pull out. If it comes out in a one-eye, you've done a good job, but as long as you get that bone out, that's all that matters. Now that excess skin flaps over the back just to protect those breasts. And the reason we've taken that wishbone out is because when we carve it, we want to get the maximum amount of meat off of that carcass, and it will allow the knife to go right down by the breastplate and take off that chunk that's normally left on. You may have heard people talk about a trivet. What's a trivet? Could be vegetable, could be metal, could be crinkled up tin foil. It's basically a thing that creates a gap underneath the protein or vegetable you are cooking that allows the air to circulate properly and encapsulate the whole of that bird in the temperature. So for this, we've got greaseproof paper just to save on washing up, a good risen trivet. We're going to take our bird onto the tray and then start to hit it with a bit of oil. You can go sunflower oil, you can go olive oil, you can go lard, you can take butter, garlic and thyme, rub it underneath the skin using that cavity you've created at the back where the wishbone was. I don't like doing that because I like the flavour of the chicken to sing out. So a good bit of olive oil all over the top. Then you take your hands and you rub and massage all of that olive oil in. And this is basically going to act as extra lubricant to help that chicken pick up the temperature while we're cooking. Next, salt. Good amount of salt, just sprinkled all over the bird. I use flaky salt, but if you want to use fine, that's completely up to you. Don't forget the legs. It's so important when roasting meat that you bring it out of the fridge a good hour before you're going to cook it. And that allows that meat to come up to room temperature. So you're not trying to get something from fridge cold to cook. You're teasing and suggesting the temperature into that meat slowly. So you end up with a beautiful, consistent cook. Now, all that's left to do is roast. It's really as easy as that. This is gonna go in a 220-degree oven for about 25 minutes. And that heat, that intensity is gonna build the golden brown goodness, that caramelization, that roasted chicken flavor that we all know and love in the first 25 minutes. After that, we turn it down, slowly teasing the heat through the meat to make sure nothing's dry. We end up with a golden brown, juicy bird. Now, our bird has been in there for another 25 minutes. Total cooking time on this chicken is a lot less than you'd first expect. A chicken is cooked at 63 degrees Celsius. It's safe to eat. So don't cook your chicken to 70 and then take it out of the oven because it will rise to 75, 80 degrees. In layman's terms, that means it's dry. It's not nice. So, top tips, preheat your oven. Trivet so the air can circulate around it. Don't overcrowd the oven because then the temperature will drop. Roast hot, finish the cooking, and then rest. We're gonna leave this to rest now for about 20 minutes. Half the cooking time is what you want to leave it to rest for. So grab a sheet of tin foil and we just want to loosely cover. I know it doesn't look like it's doing much, but that will keep the heat in and make sure that chicken is beautifully cooked. Now, our bird is rested. It's been about 20 minutes. He's done. Our core temperature of the bird is 63 degrees. It's rested, it's cooked, but it's juicy. It's not overcooked. All that's left to do now is carve. For this, I've got a poultry knife. This is a Japanese style of knife that's made for poultry. The little curve at the end is perfect for getting in and amongst those little crevices and getting every bit of meat out. We take our knife, we go down the hinge and allow that juice to fall out. It's important to do this while it's still on the rack so you don't make a mess of your board. Now we tease away, get in, open up, releasing that ball and socket joint as we take off that perfect leg. Same for the other side. Now the legs are off, most of the juice is dealt with, we can take our chicken onto the board. Now at this stage, it's very important to have confidence when making the strokes with your knife. Down onto this little dark line that you see on the ridge of the chicken, that's the breastplate, the sternum in the middle of the ribs. Take your knife slightly to one side, big confident swoop in and down the length of the chicken. That will expose the breastplate. Now at this stage, we're going in and around as we hug the bone, flaying that chicken off and capturing the maximum amount of meat. But because we've taken the wishbone off of this chicken, we're not carving around at the end. We can get all the way down and in, take the breast off to release that ball and socket, and that whole supreme comes off. With the winglet, same with the other side. Once you've got it off of the carcass, lay down onto your board. And you just want to take that winglet off, so this piece of meat becomes its own entity. Now the breast. When you carve, you always want to use a sharp knife. Quite long, quite thin, so you can have control over your slices. We take the knife, use the whole length of it to slice this chicken down, and it's completely falling apart. It's so tender. To slice this chicken into beautiful thin strips, perfect for your Sunday roast. And that's it, with leg, with a wing, with a breast, perfectly cooked golden brown chicken, roasted, seasoned, rested. This is a game of temperatures. Getting that golden brown goodness on the outside with sweet, succulent meat in the middle. My 101 of roasting chicken. And thank you.